Well, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Old Bloke Crypto on February the 21st, 2024. And I trust you're all enjoying this roll on we're getting from Ethereum at the moment. Some serious money to be made if you are being careful with your capital. And this is this morning for me. Entry price 29.74. That's the final entry price after I added to my long position after the dips that we've had. And exit at 30.15 this morning. So a nice little earner for me. Hope you had one too. Whilst I think of it, this is not financial advice by any means. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Well, of course, how did I come up with the numbers for those exits and entries? Well, that magical internet money didn't magically happen by itself. And it happened because I read the charts, took the highs and the lows according to the charts and traded accordingly. Well, let's see what today may bring. Now we're going to start with a different chart today, and this is the Bitcoin chart. As you know, I trade Ethereum primarily, not Bitcoin. But this is an example of how much money is to be made in this market, and volatility is the trader's friend. Simple as that. This is on the daily chart. And we are now 4.5 hours past the daily close, most of the way through the Asian session. Have a look. This is yesterday. Okay, have a look at your volume bar. Nice volume still. Have a look at the high and the low yesterday, including these weeks. The high of 53,120, the low 57,255. That's over $2,500 in difference on Bitcoin yesterday. And that, my friends, volatility is opportunity knocks for the trader who knows what they're doing. Hopefully with some of these videos, I can show you what I do in order to harvest those returns that I've been making over the last few weeks as this bull phase has really kicked into gear. So anyway, very exciting. I'll just note right now that, again, this is your ceiling of the range for Bitcoin. So the top of that ceiling currently 53,120. We're sitting at 51,985. Perhaps the UK session will go off again. Who knows? A lot's been happening in the Asian session in recent weeks, which is quite unusual in recent months for the Asian session. But of course, the US session is where all the major action is with our Bitcoin ETF action and so forth. So let's have a quick look at what's happening in the US markets now. And you'll see over here on these indices, the VIX is up quite a bit. 4.8%. The S&P has come back, so's the NASDAQ. The Dixie has come back as well, and the Dow Jones. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Normally, when the S&P and NASDAQ is down, the Dixie is up a bit, and vice versa. When the VIX is up, S&P and NASDAQ and the Dow Jones is often down. So you see you've got a bit of a mixed bag, so not really getting any direction from the TradFi. And don't forget that there has been a distinct break of the long-standing correlation between TradFi or US TradFi and crypto in recent months. They've really disconnected where they have been joined at the hip right through the bear phase. So this is exciting. So we still take notice of this, because if we get a big correction on TradFi, it doesn't matter about this disconnection. You know that crypto is going to go down with the rest of the markets across the world. So you remember yesterday I was saying that Ethereum, the next points on the chart of interest were 28.80 or 30.40. Just a quick reminder of how we got there and what price has done since then. And really, this chart is as clear as crystal in that regard of liquidity and how the market makers, which I like to call the market manipulators, will manipulate the price to take the liquidity of the unwise, the undercapitalized, I should say, and the over-leveraged traders. Now, if you don't fall into those categories, but you are wise, you are trading within your means, and including within the leverage means, you can play them at their own game, as you see that I do and have been doing days on end. It's no magic trick. It's just the fact they're after your liquidity. They want your Ethereum. They want your Bitcoin. Don't give it to them. Take it off them instead. So here we go at 28.80. Remember, if you look at the video or listen to the video again from yesterday, you'll know I was harping on about that. Well, let's see where price came down to. Right there, 28.78 there. Let's see where it bottomed yesterday on the daily chart there for Ethereum. Look at that. Let's see that wick there. That is a liquidity hunt right there. And where did it end up? 28.73. There it is. Again, it's not magic. It's just how it is. And it's nothing to be surprised at, but it's great for trading. So this happened. It got down to 28.73 in the middle of the night when I was asleep. I don't tend to place automated orders on high leverage positions. What I do is I place these orders manually, because with high leverage, things can get out of hand really quickly. And I just use the example, the easiest example again: China invades Taiwan. You imagine what happens to the market. I don't want to have automated orders firing off if that happens with high leverage. So anyway, quite happy to miss out on that, the bottom of that, but I still got some nice entries on the way down before I went to bed last night, and that did me. Thanks very much. And so then where did we top out on yesterday's chart? 30.37. And what was I saying on YouTube and Twitter yesterday? Yep, 30.40. And as I said, that I was quite happy when I woke up this morning here in Australia. See, there's plenty of volatility. So should have said, well, we make 30.40 today, and indeed we made 30.37. So I closed that out at 30.30. There was a bit of movement in the liquidity bands coming up to that. 30.30 was close enough for me. Thank you very much. Money in the bank. So let's do it again today. Let's take some money out off the big boys, and let's have a look at the levels today. So as you saw, price action there, that was at 28.73 it bottomed out at. And you'll note there's some more liquidity down there, and I'll get to that afterwards, that 28.56 number. That's been hanging around there for quite a while, and that's 260 million smackers down there, so there's nothing to be sneezed at. So something just to keep in the back of your mind. Anyway, so we go up here, price comes up, 3,000, and of course, and we came up right up here to 30.30. We backed off a little bit, and you'll see these dark gaps here. Well, this is on the 3-day chart. Now, if it was a 12-hour chart, I'd be a bit more concerned about that, but there's still plenty of liquidity in the lower time frame. But anyway, you see these gaps here. Now let's have a look at the 12-hour time frame. Oh, and look at that. Look at the amount of liquidity that's coming in there. 40 millions, at a clip up there, around the 40 at a clip down there as we move through the prices. So let's see what at the bottom of these bands. Okay, so we've got there about 29.75 around there. It's still quite thick down there. What's the top there? Around the 30.50. So they're our bands that we're looking at today. 30.50 down to 29.75. But do I long? Do I short? What do I do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And of course, the caveat, which I always say, is you do you. You make up your own mind of what leverage you take, what capital that you risk. Totally up to you. But I'm telling you what I'm going to do today. Now, quite frankly, at the moment, it's too risky to take shorts with a rising market. And I'm going to be placing, I've already opened a placeholder long. My short position is still a hedging position. Now, for now, I'm going to put a stop at 30.50 on that position. I would love for it to come back in the interim during the UK session, for example. Come right down here to 29.75 before bedtime tonight in Australia. And I will happily add to that position with extra longs. It's as simple as that. So, in the 4-hour chart demonstrates it best, even though I don't trade the 4-hour. It's very useful to look at to give you an idea. And you'll see here, we're in a trending market. And remember, I've said to you multiple times, Bitcoin is in a range, Ethereum is not in a range. And I'll confirm that for you. Another exciting chart in a minute. Have a look at this. We're continuing to trend to the upside. Why would you fade that? The answer is you wouldn't. You see here, again, this is another example of the market maker. A lot of people set their stops on the 21 EMA as well as the 50. And the market maker, and we'll call him a he's come there at 2 o'clock this morning, Australian time, and he's hunted that liquidity that was available down to the 21 EMA and then reversed. So that's an example of why you don't set your stops there, where a lot of unwise retail traders do on those exact levels. Anyway, point being, market's rising, we go with it. The trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and the trend is to the upside. We get any downside move, any wicking, well, what's the current? Well, that's the 4-hour. The current EMA, the 21 EMA is 29.14. And let's see what it is on the daily. The current 21 EMA is 26.79. Do I think we get there? No, I don't. Not at this particular stage again, unless we have some black swan event. And then, of course, we can. But the 27.20 is the prior yearly high. That is a potential. Again, if we form a range now, for whatever reason, unlikely, but if we do, 27.20 could form the bottom of that range, absolutely. But I just want to remind you of one other thing to keep in mind. And this is going back to the 3-day liquidation heat map again. Remember that $235 million worth of long positions sitting there at 28.50. Now, the market maker, if they have an opportunity, would love to snap that up. So you've got to have sufficient capital available to protect your position down to there. Unless you want to set stops higher, of course, it's up to you. What I do, in fact, with my position is I have the capital available. Is if we get down there, I'm adding to my long position. Absolutely. Remember, we're in an overall rising market. So any of these dips, minor or major, are opportunities to add to the long position. And just to illustrate how much liquidity is down there, this is on the 7-day chart, the cumulative chart between the big exchanges. Look at all of this to the downside. Wouldn't the market maker love that? He'd be licking his lips at all of that liquidity if he could snap it up right down here there, that 28.50 levels around about there. So there's a lot of big wicks in there. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying you need to be paranoid, but you need to be aware that anything can happen in crypto, and they could go for that if they have the opportunity. And if they do, by golly, there is an opportunity for you to add to your long position. So you've always got to have some dry powder up your sleeve to be able to deploy it at those times. So as I'll be saying as I will be saying on Twitter, and as I said in that video, 28.80 or 30.40, well, the answer is, in my opinion, it's going to be neither of those things, because that was yesterday and that's been and gone. Today, is it going to be 28.50 or 30.50? The answer is 30.50 is my opinion, is where we're heading to. We might get down to 28.50 if there's a big hunt down there. That'd be great. But for me, 30.50 is the next level to look at. One final thing I'll just remind you of. As a matter of fact, two things I'll remind you of. Again, I come back to this chart, this daily chart that I've had saved for a while. Remember, I've said these wick tops, 29.66 was taken out, 30.40 was taken out. Next one, high time frame, 31.83. See this big wick here, 31.83. So after this 30.50 dalliance that we might be playing with today in the US session, that is the next big one that I am looking for. And one, I promise, final chart is have a look at this. And how exciting is that? This is the BTC chart on the daily, of course, and looky, we're above the 200 EMA. It's exciting. That's what it is. It's not conclusive by any means. We have closed yesterday's candle above the 200 EMA, which is currently on 57, and we're 57.7 at the moment. And we continue to trend to the upside against BTC. Now, we'll cover this day by day. It continues to the upside, just like this deviation did. It continued to the upside, then it came back, retested, and couldn't hold and went through. So what we're looking at is confirmation above. Great, closed entire green candles above. Great, we'll go with that until we retest. And then that is the next level we'll look at, see what happens with the retest. And if it's strong, remains strong as it should be, instead of a deviation, we should then continue to the upside. How exciting times. Hope you do well in the next 24 hours with your trading. This is Old Bloke Crypto. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you.